to this tutorial. Okay, so we're going to look at the chords A, D and E. The way we're going to play this on the guitar is using our index, middle, ring and little finger. In chord charts, the index finger is number 1, or the first finger. Middle finger is the second finger. Ring finger is the third finger, and the little finger is the fourth finger. So let's have a go at forming the chord of A. So the instructions I'm going to give is by giving the fret first, then giving the string. So at the bottom of a guitar, which is the thinnest string, is first string. The one above it is second, the one above that third, fourth, fifth, and finally the sixth string, which is actually closest to you. Okay, so to form the chord of A, let's take our first finger and place it on the second fret, and we're going to place it on the fourth string. Now what we want to do is aim for the centre, the 2 fret bars. It just makes it easier to press down the string. And then our second finger goes on the second string, second fret, just below that one, on the third string. Then our third finger also goes on the second fret, this time goes on the second string. So we're forming the chord of A. And our thumb is almost behind our second finger. Now if you've got this sort of shape and our fingers almost like horizontal, what we want to do is actually make a line that's vertical with our fingers, almost like that with my first index finger on my right hand here. So we're almost trying to get all the fingers in a line. What we need to do is move our wrist around, but just swivel our wrist around towards the headstock and try and get the shape as almost straight as possible. It's not always possible to do that, as long as you're close to the centre with your fingers. If you bring your fingers too back, you're going to get a lot of buzzing or dull notes. So the centre is quite adequate. So let's just strum down on that chord. Be careful our third finger doesn't catch the first string, because sometimes you'll find a little bit of buzzing happens there. So try and get your fingers almost 90 degrees to the fretboard. Let's just strum that a couple of times. Just try and get the feel of the shape of the chord. Try and build some finger memory. So our next chord is going to be the chord of D. We're going to put our first finger on the second fret, third string. We're going to put our second finger also on the second fret, first string. And our third finger comes in front of the second finger, goes on the third fret this time, on the second string. Try and get our fingers almost towards the centre. You might need to just stretch and bring out your fingers a little bit, and sometimes you might need just to hold your fingers just in place while you get used to that particular chord, and your thumb midway behind the first and the second finger. It just helps with the pressure with the fingers in front. So let's have a go and see what that sounds like. With the D chord, we strum from the fourth string downwards. If you do get any buzzing, just move your fingers back or forwards, like on this string here, which is my first finger. I'm actually getting quite a lot of buzzing and dull notes at the same time, so it doesn't sound really good. We might need just to move our fingers a little bit further back or further forward. So that's perfect. So we'll strum that a few times. Get used to the chord shape. Get used to where your fingers are. By this step, your fingers are probably hurting a little bit, and if you have a look at your fingers now, your fingers will have lines on them where the strings have been. This is perfectly natural. So if you have a look at my fingers now, on my fingertips, you can see where indentation, where the strings were being pressed down. That's perfectly normal. What happens is, over time, the more you press down on the string and the longer you press down on the strings, it builds up calluses in your fingers. And in the long run, it actually makes your guitar playing a little bit more easier. You're able to press down on the strings more comfortably. So that's where, your tips of your fingers become a little bit more hard. So when you're playing the guitar and you're learning chords, just take your time, do a few chords. So learn the guitar for about 5 minutes, then have a 5-minute break, then come back to the guitar, play for about another 5 minutes, and then have another break for another 5 minutes. And then you can build up time, you can spend longer on the guitar, maybe 10 minutes, have 5 minutes break, then another 10 minutes on the guitar, have another 5 minutes break. So don't rush these things. Okay, so our final chord that we're going to learn is the chord of E. We're going to put our first finger on the first fret and we're going to place it on the 3rd string upwards. And then we're going to take our second finger and we're going to place it on the 2nd fret, 5th string, and then our 3rd finger goes under our 2nd finger. So it's on the 2nd fret, 4th string. If you get any buzzing, just check which string is buzzing and then just alter your finger that's the one that's causing the problem. So you should have a nice round sound like that, no buzzing at all. So let's put these chords together and see what it sounds like. So on the next page we've got stave lines and also bars. Okay, so in each bar we've got a count of like 4 strums. So we're going to do a beat every second. We're going to start off with the chord of A, so if you just refresh your memory where the chord of A was. Let's do that again. And we've also got a chord change to D as well. Change of E, chord change of A, so then we've got a chord change of A to E, to A, to E. So let's try that again. Start off with the chord of A, let's follow it through. Remember, each chord has 4 counts, nice and smoothly. Okay, so how did you do this time? So let's move on to the next exercise. I'm just going to mix things up a little bit. And on the next page, we've got all the chords in all different order. So be careful with that one. We've actually got 3 bars of A there. Then we go on to D, and we change back to A, back to D, A, E, A, and E. So let's start again. Let's go form the chord of E. A, E, A, E. So how did you find that? Did you find it easy or difficult? Did you keep up with the tempo? I bet you did fabulous. Excellent. Now you probably noticed when I was playing the guitar, I actually swapped over from my first, second and third finger when I'm playing A to my second, third and fourth finger when I'm playing A. It's because it's a little bit more easier for me to get to the chord of E, and we'll discuss that in a further lesson. In the last exercise we looked at three chords, A, D and E, and we played in different ways. Now when you're first learning chords, I bet you took your fingers off in between the bars for a few seconds while you find the next chord. Next exercise we're going to have a look at how we can speed up the process of changing from one chord to another, and we're going to go from E to A and then from A back to E. Once you've mastered this, it will make it a little bit more easier and sound more fluid when you're practicing rhythm.